So in this lesson, we're going to look at one of the more useful applications of completing the square. So we are going to go on to some new material, but we're going to use this idea of completing the square in today's lesson. So the goal is to write or to rewrite quadratic equations in what we call vertex form, and we're also going to be graphing these graphs in vertex form, and we're going to talk about what each part of the equation represents on a graph. Now, if you didn't understand what I just said, that's okay. Just follow along. And we're going to build up to rewriting quadratics in vertex form. I just want you to know that that is the goal of today's lesson. So let's start off with something that you guys may know. We've already covered this. So if you look at number 1 on the worksheet that I gave you, it says to multiply x plus 4 squared. So what the heck are we multiplying here? Well, remember that when we have something squared, it's telling us to multiply that, whatever's inside the parentheses or whatever's being squared, by itself. So what does that mean? This is telling me to do x plus 4 times x plus 4. So now we have two binomials and we're multiplying them together. So what do you think? What method should we use to multiply these two binomials? So hopefully you were able to identify this or recognize this from our last test. Remember, if we want to multiply two binomials, and that's what we have here, we have one factor and a second factor, and each factor has two terms. So 2 is represents bi, like a bicycle has two wheels. So this is one binomial, and this is my second binomial. And I want to multiply these two. And we're going to use the FOIL method to multiply these two binomials. So we write F, O, I, and L. Now, let me walk you through this, how you're supposed to do this method, and then I'm going to point out one common mistake that I've seen when students are multiplying two binomials. So if we want to FOIL, what that tells me is F, I want to multiply the first term in each binomial by each other. So right now, here's my first binomial, here's the first term, that's x, so my first is going to be x times the first term in my second binomial, which is x. So I get x times x. Now I'm going to add that, which I'm going to wait to put in my sign. Let's see here. Outer terms, we want to do the outer terms on this expression. So we've got x and 4, so I'm going to multiply x times 4. X times 4. And then I want to do the inner terms. That's what the I stands for. So inside this expression, I've got a 4 and an x. So I do 4 times x. 4 times x. And then I want to multiply my last terms in each binomial. So I've got a 4, that's the last term in this binomial, and then a 4, that's the last term in this binomial. 4 times 4, that's going to give me 16. Now, we know that this is positive, so I'll just leave this positive out front. We know this is positive, so I will add that, add those first two terms. We know that this is positive, so I will add that term. And we also know that the 16 is positive, so I will add that term, which gives me x squared, because x times x is x squared, plus 4x, because x times 4 is the same as 4x, plus 4 times x, which is the same as the last term, 4x, and then plus 16, I'll just bring that down. Okay, so now just a final step. We want to combine like terms. Here we have a term with an x, here we have a term with an x, so I can rewrite this expression as x squared plus, so I do 4 plus 4, that's going to be 8x plus 16. That is the foiling method. Now go ahead and solve the next 3 problems on your worksheet. Multiply those binomials and continue on with the next educated video after you complete that task. But before I do, I'm just going to box this so you guys know that that is my final expression.